She's on the
money.
She's on the money.
Hi, She's on the Money crew. I have a money dilemma which has been weighing really heavily on me over the last few weeks. I've recently been offered a training position at work that I've been hoping for ever since I started my degree. It's my dream job, and to get offered training so early in my career is an absolute blessing. However, I've also recently gotten married and we've been talking about trying to start a family soon. I feel like I'm now stuck between making a choice between my career and my family. I don't know if I should be taking the training position, which would be 2 years full-time for the qualification, and risk getting pregnant in the middle of it, or if I should decline and risk missing out on the opportunity. I've been having so much uncertainty and anxiety around something that I've wanted so badly. Any advice would be greatly appreciated.
I think I really think that you should be following your career dreams and goals, because I want everyone to watch. Have you guys heard of Night Bitch?
No.
It's with
But
either.
any recommendation you make, I'm in.
Okay, well, I think you should. I think our listeners should watch this before, because I really do think, I just don't want you to get into a place where you're like, I don't know, like you've had a child, you are happy. Obviously, like you love your children and they bring you so much. But I just fear that you do. I like a lot of people do kind of like lose themselves once they have a child, and they like their identity, and like it's so much more work. Like it's so much more consuming than we ever realize. And so I feel like, first of all, having that conversation with your partner, whoever you're having a child with. And some people have a child on their own and some people do it with multiple people. But I think that if you have a conversation, you really, really are sure of all the expectations. You're like thinking about every aspect of every single day. That is really important, because you don't want to get to a place where like you're having a child with someone and then you realize that the load is really not very equal. And you just by default go into this stay-at-home parenting role. And then you by default give up all your hopes and dreams. And then before you know it, 10 years have passed and you're like, people are like, hey, what do you do for work? And you're like, oh, I used to be. And then you're like, no, I was that. I was a lawyer. Now I'm a mum, and that's great as well. But you just don't want to lose yourself. You don't want to lose your identity. Keep following your dreams. If something happens, if you fall pregnant, you must have that conversation about distributing the load so that you don't lose yourself, your partner doesn't lose themselves, everyone's happy. Just don't give it up. Don't give up your dreams. Watch Night Bitch.
That's the next takeaway.
All right, I'm going to watch Night Bitch.
Please.
Jess, what are your thoughts on this?
I think you need to decide, like, do you want to have a kid in the next 2 years or not? Like, you've kind of said, oh, I've gotten married, we're thinking about it. And I know that you can't always plan, like it's not a perfect world, but like you can definitely go, is the plan to have a kid in the next 2 years or not? Because I think this is more than just taking on a job. Like, you're taking on a level of education. And to me, it feels a little bit wasteful almost of both your time and the resources of the company that I'm assuming would be paying for you to do this training, whatever that is, if you were to get halfway through, for example, and then drop out. With that being said, I would also look into, well, is it something I could put on pause? Like, could I, whatever, it's hard because we don't know what the training is, but like, could I do, if say I got halfway through my training and fell pregnant and went on maternity leave.
Why can't I come back to it?
Can I pick the training back up? But I know that sometimes with these things, like there's like a time limit on it. So I would just look into that to know your options. But I think that like if you're going to have a child, that's probably something that you do need to be planning for regardless. So it might be helpful for you to solidify what those plans ideally look like, because we also know that getting pregnant is not linear and the best laid plans can go awry. I wouldn't say that it's really our place to tell you yes or no. I think it's really something you've got to look at within yourself, because as you said back, I don't want you to put your dream job on hold. And just because you're going to have a child doesn't mean that you're not going to then want to come back to that dream career. And it would be unfortunate to give up an opportunity. But I think you just need to weigh up what you want. Yeah. It's that classic thing, you can have everything you want but not at once.
Yeah.
And I do think like as much as I know that we say all the time, like, your workplace wouldn't hesitate to replace you, da da da. I do think like there's some level of consideration owed to them if they're going to be footing the bill for you to do whatever this training is and putting that time and that resourcing into you. If you know for a fact that in 12 months, if you can be pregnant, you would want to be pregnant. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Can I bring the mood down?
Yeah, by all means.
So I look at this and I just go, do the course, do it, sign up for it, get it done. I would have spent a lot of time in limbo if I had put my life on hold and my career on hold because I wanted to have a baby. And when I said I want to bring the mood down, I found pregnancy hard, but I found it extra hard because I had 2 pregnancies before I had Harvey that I lost. And one thing that made everything, I think, a lot easier was having my career, having things in the background that I was looking forward to, being able to get out of bed and go to work and still do the podcast and work on the online courses. And none of that was on hold because Victoria's planning on having a baby at some point, and so therefore we need to pull back. I think at that point in time, I was so appreciative that like we weren't like planning to take time off. Because you just never know how long that's going to take. Like you could get pregnant first go, slay. Do you know what? I don't think you owe anything to your employer. And I would be really upset if I found that someone in my team was prioritizing my business over their ability to have a baby because that is so hard. Like for some people, they start the journey, bam, pregnant real quick. Congrats. For some, it takes literal years, and the idea that you would have then put your career on hold for this thing that wasn't eventuating and your whole life becomes paused. Like, don't do that to yourself. I would prefer you to have to go to your employer because it's none of their business how you got pregnant. Was it an accident? Like people get pregnant by accident all the time.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to say, yeah, actually, I took up your training and then my husband and I actively started trying to conceive a baby so that I could pull out of this training that you put me in. We're not going to put it that way. Go, oh my goodness, what a blessing. Found out I was pregnant. Let's deal with that then.
Yeah.
Because I can almost guarantee this can be put on pause. Like if you're planning next year trying for a baby, you've got 12 months in this training. It then takes 9 months to make a baby. You're most of the way there.
That's true.
Like, can you continue the training without full-time employment? Maybe it's something you could polish off on mat leave. I'm not saying that everyone could do that because mat leave for everybody is very different, but like we can work it out. And I'm very much a, look, let's just go with the flow kind of girly because pregnancy is not something that is, as you were saying, linear or easy, and you can't guarantee that, yep, I'm going to have this super straightforward pregnancy. Do you know what? You might get to the end of the training. Let's pretend it takes you a bit to get pregnant. You've agreed to the training. You do all the training. You have your dream job. You have your baby. Everything's looking up Millhouse. You then go, I never want to return to work again. I love being a stay-at-home mum.
Yeah.
Wow, what an opportunity that you have the choice. Like, I just want you to have choice. And by putting it on hold or on ice because you're so worried about impacting other people is not putting yourself first.
Yeah.
Put yourself first, be a little bit, and it's not selfish, but feel selfish. I don't mind. I think it is fantastic.
What did everyone else think?
Everyone else had a lot of different opinions. So we first asked you guys a few questions. We said, what will you do if you were our community member? 41% of you said take the dream role, jobs do not wait. 5% said hold off for your family plans. And 52% said try to do both and see what happens. 2% of you said too hard to decide. We then asked, should women factor in potential pregnancy when accepting a high commitment role, even if it's just a maybe? 35% said, yeah, it's being realistic. 56% said, no, it shouldn't be a factor. And 9% said, I've made decisions based on this before. I love that. I think you can And I like that I've made decisions based on this before because you can really only talk about it when you're in it.
Yeah.
Like parenting, like as a parent, is so much different to what you think it's going to be. You go, okay, cool. Like how am I going to, you're thinking so much about the juggle. You're like, how am I going to do this? Like what will we do for daycare? What will we do for child rearing? How will I return to my career? I promise you it flows a lot easier than you think it's going to. Don't get me wrong. Like there is the juggle. But like your lifestyle changes so dramatically that like it just becomes part of the new normal.
Yeah.
Like I'm not thinking about my career and all of my girlfriends and like the girls that I know in Mother's Group. We're not like, oh, it's linear and you have to stop your career here to start here. Like I think we need to just be talking about this and working out how we can continue and how we can keep having these conversations because it's putting you in the best possible position. So we said, what's your 2 cents? First person said, I factored in pregnancy if considering changing jobs because I needed security and stability. That's
Great
a
point.
different story than taking training though.
Yeah.
And like that goes back to what I was saying before. I've got girlfriends who are like, do I move because I want another baby? But like a new maternity leave policy would mean I have to be at a location for a certain amount of time before I get
Yeah.
access to the maternity leave. Like, do I want to wait that long for a baby? Do I want to have a baby and stay at this company? Like, it's a juggle. In that case, we are actually thinking about it. The next person said, it sucks we have to choose between career and pregnancy.
Yeah, when you were
Why
talking
do we
about it
have to
before,
choose?
I know.
I was just thinking when I gave my response, like I really hadn't even considered, which is very naive, like the gendered lens and the fact that,
My husband didn't have to do this.
well, yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
it depends as well on whether or not our listener, we don't know if they plan on being the primary caregiver
Oh,
or
no
what
idea.
that looks like.
Yeah.
So that would all factor in. But it didn't even come into my brain. And I was like, oh, how awful that is something that weighs so heavily on a lot of us.
I know.
That plays into the next response. Someone said there's actually no right or wrong answer as long as the choice is yours.
I agree with
Yes.
that.
Which I couldn't agree more. Sorry. You can always leave a job if it doesn't work out, but you don't want fear to hold you back. Next person said, starting a family shouldn't compromise your career goals. There's always a way forward. I agree with that. Like,
Yeah.
I just think work out your career, dive headfirst into that. Because do you know what? Some people like me, I got really sick
Yeah.
for the first 12 weeks of 3 friggin' pregnancies. Be for real. That should be illegal.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't have to go through the first trimester 3 times. And
Yeah.
I got diagnosed. I'm not just saying I had HD, but I got diagnosed with HD, which is a severe form of morning sickness.
Right.
I didn't know I was going to get that. Like I thought that I was going to glide through and at maybe 8 months we'd wind down. No, like my whole entire life went into a spin. Someone else said, take the role, work for 12 months and then start trying in the second year. Another person said, I gave up opportunities for potential pregnancy and then had fertility issues. Just take the job.
Yeah.
And another person said, and this plays into Jess and is a perfect way to wrap it, men wouldn't worry about this, so why are we?
Yeah.
Which is so true. They'd be like, why are we talking about this? Just take the job today and we'll work it out later.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it. Just do it.
All right. Well, it has been lovely, my friends. Have a beautiful weekend. And on the flip side, we'll see you on Monday bright and early for a Money Diary.
Gorgeous. Bye, guys.
Bye.